Goes together? Great. All right. Well, thank you. File in behind. Good enough. What you got, Jason? This song? Yeah, this one. Is everyone? Squeeze it, guys. That's everyone? That includes me.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At first, I would like to express my thoughts and prayers to all victims of crime. However, our community continues to suffer from brazen acts of violence, especially carjackings, throughout the Eastern District of Louisiana, and specifically New Orleans, and especially in other parts of the country and the state of Louisiana. We are assembled this afternoon for a press conference to reassure the public that we are a team and that we're working together. As a group, we recognize that occasionally it may seem that we're not working together, but like every family, we find a way to work out our differences. We stand before you today united with a common goal to work as hard as possible to protect the public because the public deserves no less. I mentioned earlier in the speech last year that in order to reduce violent crime, it will take a collaboration between federal, state, and local law enforcement. The involvement of community leaders, business leaders, teachers, and most importantly, parents. As a parent myself, it is not for me to judge or gauge or to lecture anyone about their parental skills because each of our situations are different. Times have been tough while we endure this pandemic, but it will help us, and it also will help our community if we as parents know at least two things. One, where our children are, and number two, to involve ourselves as much as possible in our children's daily lives. Juveniles appear to be committing more violent crimes in New Orleans, and the vast majority of those cases will be screened and prosecuted by our local district attorney's office. However, our office will consider prosecuting juvenile matters, but only on a case-by-case basis. Combating violent crime is a Department of Justice priority, and through the Project Safe Neighborhoods program, here are some steps that we've taken thus far. First, over the past few weeks, we've huddled together to discuss how best to assist the New Orleans Police Department and also each other with our violent crime reduction strategies. Next, we came up with an enhanced initiative. This enhanced initiative will be based on strategies that are already being used by the Violent Crime Abatement Investigation Team, or VCATE unit. The main purpose of the VCATE unit is to reduce and prevent non-fatal shootings, homicides, armed robberies, with a special emphasis and priority on carjackings, and especially in New Orleans, through intelligence-based investigations. The team will include representatives from each of the agencies represented and standing before you today. The VCATE unit would also serve as a one-stop shop for the exchange of intel and also serve as a foundation for fighting violent crime in our area. In fact, and if successful, we hope that the VCATE unit can eventually serve the same purpose as the multi-agency gang unit. All law enforcement tools are on the table, including but not limited to the use of NIBIN, or the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, and E-Trace leads to assist with firearms-related investigations, traditional surveillance techniques, real-time camera monitoring, license plate readers, proactive enforcement with the goal of apprehending and arresting the worst of the worst. This is not a numbers game. Our goal, if we do everything right, is to identify the worst of the worst in specific areas in Orleans Parish and identify those same individuals that commit the majority of crimes in a particular district or area. If we can find and identify those individuals, we will consider it to be a success. We also will use confidential informants and also community policing and holding regular intel meetings. We by no means have a monopoly or corner the market on good ideas, so we're willing to be flexible, and we will tweak the strategy as needed. Right now, we feel we have sufficient resources on the ground to sufficiently cover New Orleans, as well as maintaining law enforcement operations throughout the entire Eastern District of Louisiana. And as recently as this morning, we met with Orleans Parish Criminal District Court Chief Judge Robin Pittman and Deputy Chief Tracy Fleming Davile, and also Chief Juvenile Court Judge Reinford Daringsburg to brief them on our enhanced initiative. We will be active and responsive during Mardi Gras, recognizing limitations, and also this enhanced initiative would last until further notice. This office also remains committed to prosecuting more violent crimes with an emphasis on carjackings. And as a result of the anticipated increased caseloads, we have already taken action to distribute cases to units who in the traditional sense or historical sense have not been assigned violent crime cases. And finally, we have assigned an AUSA from the Violent Crimes Unit to each one of New Orleans' 8 policing districts to enhance contact and the exchange of information. And finally, I want to personally thank the men and women of our office and also our partners standing behind me at the podium today for their continued dedication and hard work. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an all hands on deck moment. Thank you.
Thank you, USC Dwayne Evans. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by first of all thanking you, Mr. Evans, for giving us this platform, this opportunity to come together. As he has stated before, this is, we're willing to flex wherever we can or however we can. No true plan is effective unless we've actually tried to execute it in a way that we know will hold individuals accountable. I want to thank everyone with us today, from our federal to our state to our local partners, because it is truly a team effort. And this is an A team within the city of New Orleans. We cannot do it alone. This is something that I've said time and time and again. And it does not just include us who are standing here now. It includes our citizens of New Orleans. As Mr. Dwayne has said also, the parents, our faith-based leaders, our business leaders. So with this enhanced plan, we as the New Orleans Police Department will be building upon our VCATE unit, our Violent Crime Abatement Investigation Team. In addition to the resources that are being brought, and we're grateful for those resources that are being brought to the city of New Orleans from our federal and state partners, we also will be enhancing some of our resources within this plan as well, meaning our SRT team will be an artery of this team, situational response team. We have also transitioned our major narcotics team to be a part of the VCATE unit to also enhance this plan, as well as our PSN detectives. We have a PSN detective in every district, Project Safe Neighborhood, that we working directly with this team, as well as with our ATF partners, as well as with the U.S. Attorney's Office to ensure the safety of this city. We will leverage every asset available. This is the greatest force multiplier we could ever put together. We will use our cameras at the Real-Time Crime Center. We will use our license plate readers and every other bit of technology that we can to hold these individuals accountable. Just like other departments across the country, we are experiencing staffing shortages, but this force multiplier, again, is vital to the safety of this city. And all of the technology assets is vital to this fight. But again, I would be remiss if I did not say the most important partner in this entire partnership is that you, the community. And to you, the community, just know that we do take these situations, these cases, these incidents very serious. And we're coming to hold each and every criminal accountable for his or her action and anyone that may support them during this time. It is not just limited, and let me be clear, this is something that we as a team agreed upon. It is not just limited to the individuals who are committing crimes. If you're harboring someone, if you have helped someone to commit this crime, if you have helped someone to evade us as we're investigating these crimes, you will be held accountable. So again, thank you, our partners here, for this great opportunity, and I would like to ask Mr. DA Jason Williams to come forward, please, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This federal, state, and local strategic initiative has committed its resources, brain power, to organize a dedicated team to focus on the most violent offenders in Orleans Parish. This collaborative, concerted focus on violent crime and execution on proven and new methodologies will absolutely surge back against this current crime spike and this carjacking spike. I am so very thankful to these national, state, and local agencies for teaming with the chief and I and fighting for the city of New Orleans. As far as I'm concerned, these leaders and their members are heroes in this fight for the city of New Orleans, and they are thought partners, and I cannot say just how grateful I am for having them in this fight. Recognizing, as the chief said, the clear and present challenges this city is facing, we urgently began meeting, and as the U.S. Attorney said, huddling up and meeting across agencies to pool together our resources and partner to develop ways to combat this surge. You just heard the U.S. Attorney say that he's embedding AUSAs at our police districts. This was something we simply could not do with the DA's office because we need every woman and man screening and prepping for trials. So I thank you, Mr. U.S. Attorney, for augmenting that particular effort with our police districts. This unified and strategic plan will allow us to combine and coordinate efforts to do everything in our power to make our neighborhoods safer. One of the biggest ways that this plan will help the work of the DA's office is to support our efforts to build stronger cases, RICO and racketeering cases against some of New Orleans' most dangerous criminals. Now, RICO works to specifically target those engaged in criminal activity for the benefit of larger enterprises. And it has been proven to be a very successful tool in going after some of the worst offenders this community has ever seen. To be clear, this team behind me is committed to doing this the right way. Despite what you might hear about racketeering cases, this is not some initiative that's going to target just poor communities or focus on a certain demographic. This surge back effort is taking strategic and smart approaches on violent crime by going after the web of criminality, linking perpetrators and crimes that seemingly may not have been connected to offenders on different days and with other incidences. And this is how we can be more effective in getting the most dangerous folks off the street who are, in fact, repeat offenders. Now, dealing with the myriad of impacts from COVID-19 on our people and the impact of COVID-19 on the criminal legal system, we had to find new and innovative ways to target the violent crime that we're seeing. There is absolutely a crime surge in this country, and we are surging back here in the city of New Orleans. You heard me speak in specifics to the New Orleans City Council about different strategies that could involve the real-time camera center. That type of technology, that $6.5 million that is spent with taxpayer dollars every year is going to be used more strategically than ever to not only catch violent offenders, but to also interrupt crime at certain times. You see here now that the DA's office, the NOPD, Louisiana State Police, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, as well as the U.S. Marshal Services. Now, this is an amazing team of individuals that is absolutely going to surge back. And as amazing as this team is, we still need more. We need dads and moms and grandparents and teachers and school leaders and faith-based leaders to help us in this effort. Everyone has a vital role to play in this fight for this city right now. And we have not seen crime like this in my adult life. We have to be honest about it. But in this fight that we're in right now, every single person needs to ask themselves, are you on this team with us, or are you working against us? And just as the chief said, if you are harboring an individual who has committed these types of crimes, if you know that your son has a high-powered machine gun in your home, if there is a stolen vehicle in your driveway, if you do anything to assist in these criminal activities, not only will you be arrested, but you will also be prosecuted. So I am glad to stand with these partners as we engage in a fight for the soul of the city of New Orleans. And through this plan, I can tell you that we will be successful, but there will be a cost to be paid. How many lives will be lost? How many people will lose their freedom? Pick a side. I'd like to call up Colonel Lamar Davis from the State Police and thank him for his efforts during Mardi Gras and thank him for his efforts on this very important initiative. Colonel.
I think by now you see that there's a commitment here. If you've heard nothing else, you've heard that we are all committed. For those that are committing the crimes, you have our attention. But I assure you, you also have our commitment. As said, for many years, the Louisiana State Police has maintained successful partnerships and relationships with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners. These relationships allow us to share our combined resources and combat violent crime and criminal activity in the greater New Orleans area, but also across the state. As stated, we're not only fighting crime here, we're fighting crime everywhere. We will not give up, we will not leave, and we will not stop until we have it resolved. The recent trend of violent crimes against New Orleans citizens and visitors requires reinforced partnerships, reinforced commitments, and reinforced efforts. And again, I submit to you that that's what you will have. Through the strategic use of personnel, intelligence resources, shared criminal intelligence, we will focus on the most violent offenders and crimes affecting our citizens and our communities. In conjunction with the ongoing efforts of the VK team, our team will work with the Fusion Center and the New Orleans Real-Time Crime Center to share information with our partners and attack those areas and those criminal elements that are impacting our communities. No one should have to live in fear in their communities, in their neighborhoods, in their cities. And it's with that in mind that this initiative is made a priority for the Louisiana State Police. You have my commitment that we will dedicate every available resource to this initiative. We will work diligently with our partners and with our community to rid our city of this crime, rid our city of these violent criminals, and rid our city of this problem. Again, I want to thank our partners. Without them, we could not be successful, and we would not be successful. But I also want to thank the citizens of New Orleans for their continued support. It is with you in mind that we come and we work together, but it's for you that I assure you that we are committed to this initiative. Thank you.
Colonel Davis.
So before we take a few questions, and before, I think I'm gonna have to buy lunch for everybody eventually, I was supposed to start up with introducing everyone. So with that being said, let me start off with the lady to my right, Tanisha Stevens, the Criminal Justice Commissioner for the City of New Orleans at the Office of Criminal Justice Coordination. Of course, you're familiar with the Superintendent of Police. Next is Homeland Security Investigations Deputy SAC Jeb Bison, Colonel Davis, and also the U.S. Marshal for the Eastern District of Louisiana. We have Scott Illing. For the Drug Enforcement Administration, we have Brad Byerly. That guy over there looking all serious, that's the SAC for ATF. That's Kurt Teelhorn. The SAC for the FBI, Doug Williams, and you're familiar with the DA. So with that being said, we'll take a few questions from you all. Yes, my lady.
Chief Ferguson acknowledged the shortage of officers that we've been dealing with on the streets. So when it comes to a day-to-day difference, what you are going to see right out on your sidewalk, right out on your street, what are the citizens of New Orleans going to tangibly see going forward from here?
You're probably not going to see a thing, and that's one of the reasons why we're standing before you today. We recognize that, well, let's just say this. I think the combined force from the federal side is maybe 10 times less than the current force for NOPD. So you're not going to see anything. What we're going to key in on our results, and hopefully you see some things over the next few months or so as far as making some impact arrests and apprehensions as it pertains to violent crime in the Eastern District of Louisiana. Yes, sir.
What, for the federal government, your reach is far, 13 parishes,
Yes.
your resources are vast. What drew you to New Orleans? Because as you said, carjackings are a problem in Jefferson, St. Tammany. Was it lack of police, lack of arrests, lack of prosecutions? Why just New Orleans?
Okay, well, within the Eastern District, I think, well, in my opinion, the Eastern District is tied to New Orleans with the largest population base outside of Jefferson Parish. Jefferson Parish is not having the same effects, but we feel that the bulk of the carjackings, whether those carjackings are conducted by adults or juveniles, are occurring right here. We're not limiting, while our focus is on Orleans Parish, like I emphasized when I stated earlier, we're going to still keep the other 12 parishes in mind. And hopefully, with the identified resources that we have, if we recognize or see a spike, we can transfer or adapt this same initiative into other parishes.
And how different will a prosecution look from your standpoint than the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office when it comes to juveniles? I know you mentioned prosecuting some juvenile cases. If you could just walk us through how that will look differently.
I'll say this, in the past 10 years or so, I think we've only taken on one juvenile case. So it's going to require an extreme situation in which we actually move forward with a juvenile case. The federal government, even though we have the law in the books, we're just not built to prosecute juvenile matters. We have to deal with facilities to store the juvenile, and also the timeline is much shorter. So we feel that in discussions amongst ourselves, that the most appropriate place at this particular time is to have those cases taken care of by the district attorney. Yes, milady.
Yes, any comment on the federal investigation into NOPD regarding possible violations of criminal crimes?
No comment. No comment at all. Anyone else? Yes?
I actually had a question for Mr. Williams.
That's okay.
No, it's actually Jason Douglas Williams.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Sorry.
My brother from a different mother. Yes.
Can you comment on the FBI raid this morning in New Orleans East in a neighborhood? If you could tell us, did y'all execute a warrant and what was that?
No, I can't get into any active cases that we have. I can tell you that there was some police activity there, but yeah, nothing specific on active cases. Yeah.
Do we have any additional questions?
All right. Appreciate y'all.